Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right. Look at this. Look at that. We have an actual credible football player in the room here that didn't either quit in 8th grade or sometime before that. He's a 6-year NFL veteran, a former Minnesota Viking, a founding father of the O-Line Committee podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and an all-around good guy that you do not want to challenge to a beer chugging contest at the draft party. Jeremiah Sirles.
How is everyone today?
Great to have you.
Good, man.
That's the last beer I've drank. That is the last sip of alcohol I've had since that moment.
Wow.
Yeah. I kind of reflected on my life, like, is this what I want to be known for? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll still, I have a feeling there might be 1 or 2 challenges at the state fair, so I might have to brush off retirement.
So I think the Sweet Martha's Cookies Bucket Challenge is going to be
Boone and I will crush one of those in an episode.
So you can actually go, though, from not drinking beer for a very extended period of time to chugging one that quickly. Like, that's impressive. I would think that would take some actual, if not practice, just you do it every once in a while.
You heard the phrase, it's like riding a bike, right? Oh, yeah. You did it for so long, and if you're so good at it for so long, it just comes back to you like that.
It's like your pass pro set, right?
Yeah.
Just like whenever
it's needed. You're just ready to flash, ready at any moment to throw the hands.
Okay. Wow, that's impressive because that guy was cocky.
Oh, he was.
Who challenged you? He was super cocky.
He thought he had it in the bag. He's like, we're from Wisconsin. We chug beer in Wisconsin. I was like,
okay.
All right, buddy.
And you destroyed him.
Oh, it wasn't even close. That was a shining moment. I still gold star myself for that. I'll self-suck myself for that. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. For those of you unfamiliar with the O-Line Committee, in an O-Line room, we would have one of these wonderful bells. And we would have fines throughout the entire room, throughout the entire year, and we'd collect a bunch of money, and then at the end, we'd give some to charity, and then we'd go on a big O-Line trip, right? So we always have the fines, and they're super fun fines, right? Like right there, I was bragging on myself, right? So that's a self-suck fine. Yeah. You got sensitive, ultra-sensitive. You'll learn. We'll learn as we go here.
Usually the ultra-sensitive comes if you are sensitive, and then someone hits you with the sensitive fine, and then you're like, well, what do you mean? Well, now you're ultra-sensitive, so that's a double fine.
Sound like the New York Stock Exchange in there.
There's another fine for if you go to a gas station or convenience store that isn't Quick Trip. That's a fine, Judd,
100%.
right there. We're hitting you. We're slapping you with that one.
Well, that's a massive fine, and guess what? That shows up on film. So it's not just a fine. Your position coach, your convenience store position coach is going to tell you, son, you are doing this wrong.
Take it right.
Only place to go. You know what Quick Trip is? Quick Trip is the left tackles of the offensive line, highly paid and decorated, and there for you. I mean, if you're watching this now, look at all of these options. Are you telling me that Quick Trip is not the absolute best? In fact, there is one right near where the Vikings practice, TCO, and Phil and I stop there often. Why? Because they are going to take care of things. And here is the cherry on top. Great service. So you not only get what you want, but you go to a counter where you're immediately served instead of having to wait for a kid to scurry from the back room. It's Quick Trip. It's all about the upper echelon, the creme de la creme of convenience.
Amen. So I'm going to play a clip here. We're going to get right into the juicy stuff here. I'm going to play a clip from last week's episode of the O-Line Committee. And our guy, the Rhino, Alex Boone, who you guys see Purple Daily Audience with our Trenches episodes. And
I'm sure it's bleeped out for this show, correct?
This is more of a PG version of this clip here, but it's like a 30-second clip, and then we'll go.
I don't know if you do this. I don't know if anyone at Purple Daily does this, so please take no offense. If you chart training camp, I hate you. Like I hate you.
Kevin O'Connell.
You do.
Judd charts
I knew
the passes.
I hate you.
Hold on. Kevin O'Connell has confronted Judd in a friendly way 3 times, and Judd has said, I hear your arguments. I still would like to know that JJ McCarthy is 41 of 51 in the full team drills.
Dude, I can't stand that because it's exactly
Jeremiah is going to be on.
It's
Purple Daily next
exactly.
week,
I'm going to fight Judd for this.
Hi, Judd.
All right, so
I've made myself known.
Yep.
I would love to hear the rebuttal as to why you feel this is like, let's do it. Let's chart practice.
Well, first of all, I would like to tell you that at the annual night practice that we all enjoy so much, JJ McCarthy in 11 on 11 was 6 for 11. He's now 72 of 100 perfectly in 11 on 11.
Whoa. So he's at 72% completions.
Yeah, he's done well.
Against one of the best defenses in the
Well,
in
he
the
goes
NFL.
against the second team a lot as well.
So we have to regress it a little bit.
It's 1v2s quite a bit. And then in 7 on 7, Jeremiah, 7 of 8 on Monday night, 31 of 45 in camp. So I just wanted to update you. So
he's better when there's pressure in the trenches. He elevates his game 11 on 11 versus 7 on. So he needs a little more of a challenge, is what you're saying.
He's hurt a little bit because 2 of the red zone 7 on 7s didn't go great, and those are tougher. Those are tougher. See, this is the thing. You're talking to a football guy here.
I know, for sure.
So you're not talking to a guy who Johnny come lately decided, I just got out of J school and I've decided I'm going to chart passes because, You're talking to a guy that's got notes upon notes, 2 notebook fulls, highlights.
What's highlighted there?
Actually, I break up the practices each day, so like it's not just one continuous. So this just says, for instance, 7:30:25 Wednesday, practice 7, full pads, 14 periods.
Oh,
because before practice starts, I go and ask. I go, how many periods? Because I want to know.
That's a football. I'll give you that. That's a football guy thing. To ask how many periods of practice in, you just earned some points there, Judd. I'll give you that.
I do have a quick question before we debate, though, about practice and periods, though.
Okay.
Because, full disclosure, I didn't start to do this till the last 4 or 5 years or so.
Okay.
Anyway, here's my question. When you were playing, did they always count periods when it was a hydration period? So 14 is really, let's say, 12.
Yeah. Well, so it's kind of changed. I mean, even I was just at Husker practice yesterday, and it was 14 periods. But ours used to be broke up into, I think they were 10-minute segments, right? And so it was hey, this might be a 2-period. It's a 20-minute period, but it's still periods 5 and 6, right? Versus now, I think so. That piece is probably still around the same. But it used to just be hey, there's a water break between period 7 and 8, but it's not a true period. It's just a break period.
Yes, and now it's a period. So you 14 periods. Well, you're hydrating for 2 of them, which is fine, but it's really 12. But anyway.
Yes.
So my goal, I will explain.
Please.
Now, first of all, my charting is only completions and pass attempts. So I'm not trying to chart the depth of the throws and things like that.
But you're also charting pressures. You're charting blitz rate. You're charting hurry rate, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm taking notes on stuff if there's a ton of pressure, I put it in my notes. But my goal, among my goals, I should say, is to see how many balls hit the ground and how many balls. And it helps me personally make mental notes of how the quarterback looks. So all I'm trying to do, and I do think O'Connell, if this was a veteran quarterback, I don't think it's as intriguing, but because it's a young guy who's going to be a first-year starter, and O'Connell sort of talked about this, he's definitely allowing McCarthy to purposely make mistakes to then correct them instead of trying to cut off the mistake. And so there's a lot of interesting things that come from that. So overall, my goal is to keep as close track of McCarthy's development as possible. And I understand that players don't like what I'm doing, but I also feel like it serves the people that watch this show to at least have a better fundamental idea than me just pontificating without backup to pontificate.
Can I add too that it's now if more passes were hitting the ground, then this would tell a different story in some ways. But you're telling 72 of 100 ultimately is a positive story. I could see players getting highly offended if it was 51 of 100, and Jeremiah can jump in and explain sort of the why what you see isn't always what you think you see at practice. But if you were to use training camp stats to say, well, he's performing poorly because he's only 52 of 100, and then there's some reasons, well, actually, he's not just trying to find the open receiver. There's other things he's trying to accomplish in practice. So anyways, Jeremiah.
It's a two-edged sword for me because I understand that there's the closed-door meetings of, for example, the red zone is extremely difficult. You're 100% right. The field gets smaller, things happen so much faster. But there's also certain concepts that you work in the red zone that you're hey, we're only going to work the mesh routes today or the corner fades or whatever it is. Like, I want you to throw those no matter what today. Like, I want you to get used to the timing of if we're on the 18-yard line and you're going to hit 3 steps and throw it to the fade no matter what. And it might not be a good coverage for it, right? They might be in too deep and you've got the safety and the corner converging, but we want you to get that rhythm with JJ in the corner, right, with Justin Jefferson. Or, hey, we want you to hit that back foot, throw it to the top of the crossbar and hit Hawkinson over the middle, right? So there are certain times where the period is very much scripted to, hey, try this, especially with young quarterbacks, right? You don't see it as much with the veteran guys because it's like, hey, you know what this concept is, go where the open ball is, right? But there's certain times where O'Connell's going to know because he's a freaking passing guru, hey, when we're playing the Packers and they give us this coverage, I'm going to call this play, and I know I want you to give it to Hawkinson. So I want you to get comfortable with that throw, right, from this position on the field from where we're at. The other piece of it that I struggle with the charting of the passing in 11 on 11 is very rarely do you see like, hey, that was a sack, right? Like that was actually a sack and he stepped out of it and then he threw it and he completed it to a wide open passer, right? And so that goes to the other side of it too, where it's just like it can set young players up, in my opinion, for failure if they're having very good numbers, just like it can set a player up for failure if he's having very bad numbers, right? So if you're like, man, JJ McCarthy's 72 of 100 through training camp, and we get into the first preseason game and he goes 6 for 14, people are gonna be like, well, what the hell, Judd? You said he was this, and like, you know, it can spark a little bit of like, well, is he not who we think he is? He's not. And we're just like, hey, he might have had an off day, but everyone's like, well, look what he did in training camp. Is our defense that good? Like it just, for me, I understand that there's talking points and like this is our job now. I totally understand that. But from the player's perspective, I just feel like charting practice can set players up for both good and bad, but a lot of it's setting them up for failure.
You bring up one of my biggest quandaries, which is sacks. So there are times, I have awarded a few sacks on pass plays because it's just so apparent.
Right.
But here's the other thing about this. I try not to. So like if you scramble out and you were going to be sacked probably, but you get a completion, I'll give you the completion. But here's where it gets to me to be instructive. When you when you don't deliver the ball, because these guys can't be sacked. So
right.
It's air quotes.
Yeah.
But when you don't deliver the ball, for instance, in the red zone, which McCarthy has not done twice, to me it is okay. You've got that ball has to go. That ball needs to go out. Sam, now, not to completely dump on this poor guy because we've talked a ton about him, but like Sam Howell,
but we've reached the portion of the show daily where Judd dumps on.
Well, Sam Howell, for instance, has taken way too many sacks where he just doesn't get the ball out, and I don't think that there's any drill where the coach says, hang on the ball and just see what happens. Like,
no,
it needs to come out, right? So, like, this is a fun discussion, and it can go back and forth, I guess, as a little bit more. I guess where I'm coming from is I think it's interesting.
Yes.
And I guess my only frustration your frustration with a guy like me makes sense. My frustration with the football people, though, is when they push back, and I've always said this, well, then tell us what was supposed to happen. And they're like, well, I can't. It's proprietary or whatever. And I'm like, well, then I can't. And that actually gets into the heart of your former position, the O-line. So I can talk about this now because it's years ago. But we used to get brought in through like Zimmer's first or second year. And Childress did this too. Off-season, off-the-record film breakdown. Can't talk about it, but we want to teach you. Which, by the way, awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm not bitching about that.
That's big time.
Anyway, I think it was after Matt Khalil's second year because he was great his first year and then he really fell off his second year. And I think Charlie Johnson was his right guard. And Zimmer shows us film and basically says, you guys were ripping Khalil, and then proceeds to show us like 5 clips of Charlie Johnson hanging Khalil out to dry, but it's not evident unless they're telling you what the blocking scheme was,
yes.
Right? And so my comeback has been, okay, that's great, you're pissed off, but if you're not telling us that, how are we supposed? Because the blocks look like the blocks. You know they're not. You know the responsibilities. But I've always been very frustrated with sports people who are like, you know, if you don't know about this, in fact, your new job applies to the same thing. Agents who call beat reporters and say,
oh, God.
Off the record, so-and-so, and I've gotten this call, off the record, so-and-so doesn't know what he's doing, and my client's being screwed by this and that. And then my comeback was, you know what? That's so interesting. I need you on the record.
Yeah.
I can't go on the record. Well, then I can't help you.
Right.
So like so that's always my comeback is then you got to tell me what you're seeing right now. And if you're not going to, don't expect me to then just back off completely because you don't have because you want to feed me something, because off the record stuff is useless in the sense that you're going to support your client, for instance. So like, this is where I think this is a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, and if I ever do that to you, just say, Cyril, shut up and go to bed and hang up the phone. Like,
I usually did hang up.
If I ever like, hey, Judd, off the record, be like, hey, go to sleep and just hang up. Because I agree, I hate the off the record stuff, but I mean, it's a great point, and I sometimes have to pull myself out of. I have so much more football knowledge than 99% of the normal population, right? And it's super fun, like when people like watching games with me, because as I'm watching, I can't watch a football game anymore. It's kind of a curse. Like you analyze it. Like I can't just sit and like I'm just going to enjoy this football game, right? Like I'm constantly like, oh, safety's topped over number 2. That looks like that's a slant. Ooh, game like, and so for me, like when I watch something, it is very much like I understand conceptually what is happening, whether it's a route concept, whether it's a blocking scheme, whether it's a third down, a screen, like what they're trying to work. And so I agree with you on this point, Judd, where it's like, hey, if you don't have the full picture in front of you, it is your job to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Like that's what you guys do. That's what I do now. Like, and you can only put the pieces of the puzzle together with the knowledge in which you already have. And so I love the fact that they used to bring you guys in, and I wish that they would do more of that, because it does allow you guys to understand like, oh, okay, I see what you're trying to work there. Right. The one period that I will agree with you that I think is okay to chart, and I think it's good, is third down period. Right. Because that's the money down. Right. That is the money down. That is the clutch down for the quarterbacks. That is when all hands on deck on both sides of the ball, because that's the most important down in a football game. Right. So if it's 3rd and 8 period, or it's third down period, and you're seeing, hey, how many times did the offense convert? Like that's a really telling like stat for me. If it's like, hey, the offense went 5 of 8 on third downs today. It's like, okay, that was a pretty damn good day. Right. Or hey, JJ McCarthy was 5 for 7 in third down period today, right? Like that kind of stuff I think is important. It's just when you like throw the whole concept like, hey, through 7-on-7, 11 drills in red zone, he's 72 of 100. It's like, man, there's so many pieces inside of that I understand we can't get into, but that's just a little bit more of my frustration to it. Like, because it just sets, like, I think about, like, I saw a stat for Justin Fields, right? And they're like, Justin Fields the last 3 days has been 15 of 43 with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Yeah, that's not good, but you know, it's that point is like, are you just basically setting him up to fail in the New York market? Probably. And a lot of it just, I think a lot is the tone it is presented in too. Like, is it a tone of information of like, hey, this is what it is? Or is it a tone of, hey, information, believe what I say, this dude is trash, or this dude's going to be fantastic? Like, it is so much in the tone of the delivery.
So just kind of,
and I don't hate you. I don't hate you personally. I hate the idea of what you guys do sometimes. I mean, I don't hate you personally.
You don't need to like me.
I don't hate you.
I respect you, but you don't need to. You know, one of the worst things about us today as people is we all need to be liked. Everyone wants to be liked. You don't need to like people. Now, would I prefer you respect me? Absolutely.
100%.
Put some respect on sports dad's name.
Sports is not sports. Being involved, especially in professional sports, in any avenue, is not about being liked. If you want to be liked, go work at a store, flower
be an
shop.
accountant.
Yeah, be an accountant.
I mean, accountants aren't always like.
I hate accountants, actually.
I like mine. He's creative.
Well, but the point is, I don't need Kevin O'Connell to like me. I want him to answer my questions and not think that I'm a complete moron. I prefer that. But we don't all need to like each other all the time. It's okay.
Well, just don't wear New Balance. Just don't wear New Balance's jeans and a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt, and you'll be fine.
By the way, New Balance making a comeback, man. Shohei Ohtani, Kawhi Leonard.
Hey,
it's a brand.
Money talks, boys. I'll wear Skechers. You pay me enough.
So I would love to see you in some nerdy Coach apparel. So just digging deeper on what's happening at training camp the last couple weeks. I think whether you're charting every play or whether you're just watching the first 2 weeks, it's pretty apparent that the defense, and this is probably the case in most training camps, especially with like younger quarterbacks or new systems, the Flores defense is multiple steps ahead of the first team and second team offenses. So and there's a lot of reasons for that. First year starting quarterback, Jefferson's been out with a hamstring. And you've got Darisaw and Fries kind of mixing in from their big injuries, but not a part of every drill. And Ryan Kelly just went out with an elbow, and he's a new center. So I guess like that's the context for some of it. But when you're dealing with a first-year starting quarterback looking across at one of the 5 best defenses in the league last year, they just added Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, and the guys that came before them are gelling for 2 years, and it's a confusing front. What are some of the things that the Vikings offense, besides injuries and mixing guys in, is dealing with trying to sort that defense right now?
Yeah, a lot of it is when you play a Flores type defense, you have checks upon checks upon checks as an offense, because you're going to see certain looks and go, this play doesn't make sense to just run our heads into the wall on, right? Hey, the numbers are started over here. We need to get out of this. Or, hey, this is a pass to run check or a run to pass check dependent on safety rotation, how many guys are in the box. In practice, especially with the young quarterback, you don't have those checks. You're out there to run the plays. And it's a hard balance of making sure, hey, we want to get this play run and we want to get a certain look to get it played, while also Flores is going, yeah, but I'm not just going to let you run plays on me to run plays on me, right? It's a dance and kind of a balance back and forth on what those things are going to look like. But the offense, the biggest thing that they have to start doing is just getting all on the same page, because that's what will kill you against a Brian Flores defense, especially when you have all kinds of moving parts up front. New quarterback, like who's setting the protection? Is it McCarthy? Is it Kelly? Okay, Kelly's now out. Is it now on McCarthy's plate? Is it on Michael Juergens' plate? Like, who is in charge of setting the protections against a Brian Flores defense, and then making sure the running back knows, the tight end knows, because that's the kind of stuff that just blows an entire play up. Is, hey, these 4 guys slid right, this 1 guy slid left, here comes the free runner, right? And that is what Flores defense is built to do. It's built to confuse. It's built to cause chaos. And if you've got a bunch of different guys trying to figure it out, and like a young quarterback, it can be extremely hard on a day in, day out basis when you don't have the consistency throughout the board.
So is it, because you kind of brought up, like, as an offense, you're trying to get your stuff in and you're trying to run your plays and install everything, but then you've got this really confusing defense that's not just going to let you walk all over it at practice here. Is there a point where you need the defense to just, hey, like, can you run something a little more basic, or is that, or is
not
that
right now? Not
okay.
Right now. Not in the dog days of camp. Right, that'll all start when you start game planning, right? Like, because right now it doesn't matter. Like, Brian Flores is not going to be able to mimic other defenses right now, nor does he want to. He wants to get his stuff installed, right? His priority right now is not to make sure JJ McCarthy is okay. His priority right now is to make sure come week 1, I have the full playbook in and I can pick whatever I want for this game plan. And that's what the Vikings offense is trying to do too. 14 days before the first game is when you will start game planning, right? 2 weeks out before the first game is when you will start going, okay, Flores, thank you. We'll do 1 period of good on good, maybe 3rd down or 2-minute or something at the end of practice. We are now fully shifting into week 1 win mode, right? But right now in the middle of camp, because you still got guys fighting for battles. Like, you don't want to have a guy that's fighting for a roster spot be a glorified scout team right now. You want to see, can this dude contribute and help us win right now and add a 53? So you won't see that let off from the Brian Flores defense for at least another 2-3 weeks.
So this is maybe the hardest it will be, because preseason games, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but like against the Texans this weekend, that will be an easier defense to face for a bunch of different reasons than the one that you're facing in practice for 2 weeks.
For sure.
And then the 2 weeks of game planning and then the weekly game plans for the actual week 1, week 2, week 3 is going to be easier because you're planning for those defenses.
100%.
Right?
Anytime you plan for something, it's so much easier. And I hated it. The coach would be like, we're not game planning our own guys. It's like, I understand that, dude, but like the nonsense they're running out there, we better at least talk about it, right? Yeah. Because it breaks some of our rules, right? And that's where the veteran centers would usually come into play. Like a guy like Garrett Bradbury, right? He would be able to be like, okay, I know where we're going. All right, let's get moved over here versus, is Kelly there yet? Probably not. Is Juergens there yet? Probably not, right? So it's just so much dependent on that. But yeah, once you get into week 1, and the other piece of it is when you go into those game prep modes, you have a handful of protections that you bring into the game with you. Right now, every protection's in. Every 6-man, every 5-man, every 7-man, every full slide, like every protection is in. So you're trying to remember, are we in 80s today? Are we in 70s today? Like when you go into a actual game plan mode, you're like, hey, this is our 6-man this week. This is our rule. This is our 5-man. This is our rule. This is our max protect rule. Done. Right now, let's watch and learn. Instead of right now, it's just like, how do we pick up this blitz with every single protection? It can get confusing, but that's what training camp's for.
So what's your best guess about the internal conversations, dialogue between O'Connell and Flores? Because Flores wants to throw the kitchen sink, and I mean, O'Connell's talked about this. With both of his first and second team, he is going to give you looks. There's a great story O'Connell told Jeremiah, I think it was in minicamp, where there was a look that Kelly didn't recognize, right? And Kelly turns around to O'Connell and said, what's this look? What's the answer? And O'Connell goes, your guess is good as mine. But what do you think especially with a young quarterback set to take over, what do you think that internal discussion between essentially the OC and the DC, when the OC is the head coach, is like, as far as Flores? I mean, Flores last week had guys basically choreographing their celebrations. Like they were so dominant. They were doing the Daniil Hunter kick. Now, Brian didn't ask for that, but the point was, like, that is how hard they were going. What's your experience when that takes place and a coach is really trying to get a quarterback prepared?
So it's interesting because for me, I predominantly had defensive-minded head coaches, right? And so when you have a defensive-minded head coach, he just eats that up. Right, he just loves it. Remember, I had the Zimmer special, the double A gaps, Harrison Smith running off both edges. You're trying to figure out, is it Anthony Barr, is it Eric Kendricks? Chad Greenway's in there playing chess with Teddy, right? We'll check right, he checks left. Like, so on that front, like, it was always a defensive favored drill. But my favorite thing, and you'll laugh at this, the offensive coordinators will always whine, and they'll be like, oh, defense had the pen last, which means they get to script against the offense, because we as an offense have to turn in our script to the defense, say, hey, on play 11 we'll be in 11 personnel, on play 12 we'll be in 13, so they can have it ready. Well, they also are not dumb. They understand, like, oh, this is that protection. Okay, let's script a blitz that's going to beat that protection, right? And that stuff gets super frustrating because, like I said, when you have a young quarterback, maybe he misses the flip, right? Or Kelly's not there yet, so maybe he misses the flip to pick that up, and so now you have the free runner coming off. But the conversations they're usually not nice. Like, honest, because both guys want to win. Both coordinators don't want to be on the other side of it, right? The last thing that Brian Flores wants is watching Justin Jefferson do the gritty 8 times a practice as he scores touchdowns. Just like we don't want to see Grenard and it's the Ginkster, right? Isn't that what you refer to him as? The Ginkster, like doing their celebrations all the time. So it is a war back and forth of how to, like, have the best type of practice. But it very rarely is do they come together and they're like, hey, let's just make it all happy. Like, it is an inner conflict on a daily basis. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but Mike Vrabel was bleeding from the face after breaking up a fight at joint practice this morning with the Patriots and Commanders.
Wow, dude.
Bleeding from the face. You guys can
love this. This is the start of a new dynasty right here.
Hey, KO will end the practice. He hates fighting.
See, but Vrabel's going to encourage it because
Vrabel wants it,
right? Like, he's got a young team that won 3 games last year. Like, his line's going to be, "Hey, we don't start it, but we sure as shit finish it," right? Like, that's going to be, and so, like, that's going to get chippy because those little fights at the beginning of practices, they build, and by day 3 it's chaos, right? Like, by day 3 is when, like, the little shove is just like, I've been part of them. It's not good.
How much did you hate him, or how much did you love joint? Probably more hated joint practice. I mean, it's beneficial, but
I didn't mind. So I only did joint practices once in my career with Cincinnati, and I didn't mind it because it allowed you to hit someone else. Like, it really allowed you to kind of test yourself. Like, okay, I'm not blocking Everson Griffin all day today. Like, I get to go block someone else and see where I'm at, judged against another NFL player, right? And so you like it for the first day, but it starts to build towards the end of day 1. It takes one guy with a little extra shove, and then by day 2, you're like, okay, I'm sick of you because you're not actually my teammate, so you don't get as much grace as I would give, like, my guy. You push me one more time, it's going to be a problem. And then it's usually the DBs and the receivers that start it because they both can't shut up, and they'll just sit there and they'll chirp, and then, like, one will punch the other, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to get involved now, and then you run over and spear the DB, and then it's mayhem.
So on Saturday, we actually had some friction. It was outstanding. So on back-to-back plays, Asamoah blew up Aaron Jones on a screen pass. Poor Jones, he's just a little guy, right? But then on the next play, it's a handoff. And the offensive line didn't complete their assignment, and so the defensive, I think it was the edge, came in, and he plastered Jones. And it was a football play. I mean, it was fine. But anyway, temperatures were running high, and here's my question for you. The first person to go push the edge rusher was none other than JJ McCarthy. If you're an offensive lineman and this kid is new, and I think he's respected, so that's not a problem. But like, what is your first reaction to a quarterback who is willing to defend a teammate despite the fact he's wearing a red "you can't touch me"? So it's like ordinarily that guy's out of there, right? Yeah. What's the reaction of a lineman to a kid that's willing to get involved like that?
You love it, but the first thing you do is get him out of there. Like you love that he goes over there, and the first thing you do is you grab him and pull him like, I got this, right? Like, we need you and your right hand. Don't be throwing a punch. Don't be taking anything. Like, we need that right hand. Like, I got so much tape and gloves on, I'm not even going to feel it with the Tylenol in my system, right? So you just go after it, but you love to see that. Like, we were talking about on O-line committee, like the it factor, like Baker Mayfield, right? Like Baker Mayfield, like he might not be a top 15, he might not be a top 10 quarterback, he's fringe, but like you would love to have that guy on your team. And as an offensive lineman, when you know you have that gritty guy behind you, like Phillip Rivers, for example, the last guy you would want to fight, right? The absolute last guy you'd want to go in the brawl in the back of the bar with, but he would be the first one to pick it. And you loved that about him, right? Like he used to talk so much crap, like, and it used to be like to the edge rushers and linebackers, like, y'all put that blitz on tape. That's terrible, right? Like not like, and you'd be like, Phil, that's Justin Houston. Leave him alone, right? Like, let's not poke Tom Ali. Thank you, right? And that piece, but you love that coming out of your quarterback because he is the leader of the team regardless of his age. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're the starting quarterback, you're getting the C on your chest, 100%, just like JJ McCarthy's going to. So that is an embodiment of, hey, that's an attitude that we can invest as an offense. And, hey, thank you for getting in there. We appreciate it. Now get out and let us handle it.
Yeah. I think this is a good transition. I think we should mix in. So Jeremiah is going to be, for sure, monthly Purple Daily O-line committee crossover here. And if we can sneak you in for even more, then we will damn well try. You're also an agent, so you have a lot of things going on throughout the day and other media things. But one thing we do on O-line committee every single week is dumb football questions.
Yes.
And I'd love to make that a thing, even if it's just a couple questions here and there when you join us on Purple Daily. So I'm going to throw out these are from the O-line committee YouTube channel comment section, but throw them in the Purple Daily comment section too, and we can stockpile dumb football questions. And I'll throw a couple at you here in a second. Two quick things. Number one, we are going to be at the Minnesota State Fair, Purple Daily, and even O-line committee. So the Minnesota State Fair, if you're from Minnesota, you've been there and you love it, and you pound cookies and Pronto Puffs, everything. If you're a Purple Daily listener or viewer or O-line committee fan outside of the state, it's worth traveling in for the second largest state fair in the country. So August 21st, it's that Thursday, August 21st, is the first day of the fair. We're going to be there, Score North, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday through Friday the following week, a noon to 3 block every single day at the Score North podcast stage, which is just like on the left edge of the grandstand across from one of the Sweet Martha's Cookies barns. On Monday the 25th, the O-line committee is going to be there. Alex Boone, Jeremiah Sirles, and myself after Purple Daily is done. Purple Daily, 1 o'clock every day, and then O-line committee will follow that. So we'll keep talking about this, and we'll have a website set up with information, but we'd love to see as many of you as possible at the State Fair. And a shout-out to Roku TV as well. So football season is back, and there's really no better TV than Roku to watch sports, and specifically football. And even, like, there's a lot of college students who are Purple Daily fans. Think about decking out your new apartment or dorm room with a Roku smart TV or a streaming stick, so you can bring your friends in, gather around, and watch the Sports Dad maybe on Purple Daily. It'd be great. But, yeah, Roku TVs make it so easy. I mean, we've had big news just in the last couple days about, NFL platforms going over to ESPN and WWE. How do you find what you want to watch? Roku TV makes it super easy. It's the thing that connects us all as friends and families after a long workday or whatever it may be. So Roku.com, better TV for everyone. Roku, America's #1 streaming platform. Go to Roku.com.
Football.
Okay. Dumb football question from Rowdy Ride. How long will it take Sirles to admit JJ McCarthy is an all caps elite quarterback?
Go win a playoff game. I mean, go in your first year. In your first year starting in the NFL, go win a playoff game, right? And then put yourself in Jaden Daniels' category, right? Lead your team, not manage your way, right? Because Purdy did that, and no one's really saying he's an elite quarterback. But go win the playoff game. Have the fourth quarter comeback moment. Have those throughout the year. Make good decisions with the football. Win games and don't lose games for your team. And get yourself in a division winner and a playoff win, and I'll put you in the conversation for an elite quarterback. I think that's fair. I mean, is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and he doesn't.
Elite is like
elite's
like
a high level
word.
He doesn't
It's like,
need to be elite. Like they've built an offense, provided if healthy.
Yes.
They've built an offense where he can manage the game and make the playoffs.
Here's my problem though with this is we also Brock Purdy's not that great because he's in the infrastructure. He's not as good as maybe as the numbers look because he's in the infrastructure. Like we've had some criticism. I personally love Brock Purdy. I think he's better than what the narratives are maybe against him. But are we going to do the same thing with McCarthy if we were kind of ripping Brock Purdy for the same infrastructure and things being propped up?
Well, in Declan, then who in the NFL would you refer to as an elite quarterback?
Like four of them. It's Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar.
Okay, and so for me, when I think of an elite quarterback, I think of what Josh Allen has been able to do with what he's had, right? Because if you take Josh Allen off the Buffalo Bills in the last couple of years, that team is maybe an 8-win football team, right? With the weapons that he had around him. He didn't have a true number one receiver.
You know what? It's the Sam Darnold test. If you were to replace this quarterback with broken Sam Darnold like a year ago, what would Buffalo have been?
Exactly. And same thing with the Chiefs. Like if the Chiefs didn't have Patrick Mahomes last year, that might be a 7-win football team, right? And so I always look in when I'm defining an elite quarterback is he is the reason that football team is winning games, right? It's not the infrastructure. And yes, it takes 11 on the field at once to win it, but you can lose it with one person in that position if it's not the right guy.
Among the most misguided conversations now, I think, in all of sports is the narrative on quarterbacks. I think it's been lost. I think it's been completely lost because if you're not elite in people's minds, then you're not that great. The question is, can you win playoff games? Can you have, like, Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings have built an offense that should insulate McCarthy. Mm-hmm. If he has to be elite by himself in year one, I don't think it's going to work. But right. But he shouldn't have to. It's so funny because the conversations are now like, can this guy do it himself? And it's like, no, that's not the discussion. The discussion
There's a lot of franchises that are like that draft needing that, right? Like save our franchise,
please. And that's when they fail a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it is because they get drafted to crappy teams.
Correct.
Right? But the great ones are the ones like Josh Allen. Like, I was with Josh as a rookie, right? We were terrible. We were 6-10. He had thrown it to Terrell Pryor and Kelvin Benjamin. Like, I mean, Zay Jones was his number one targeted receiver. No one that you'd be like, oh, those weapons. Yeah, that guy's going to really succeed. Right? But you saw flashes of it. Very similar, like you saw flashes of Drake May last year. Right? Vice versa, you look at Caleb Williams and you go, he had DJ Moore, he had Keenan Allen, he had Cole Kmet. Like, why couldn't he be better? Right? And so you can kind of get a judge on, is this quarterback going to be what we think he is on the flashes that you see as a young player? But very rare are the guys like Jaden Daniels that just walk in the league and they're like, I'm one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league. Everyone get behind me and roll.
Yeah. Last couple minutes here. One more from Nathan Smith, 5704. This is from the O-Line Committee YouTube comments. This is a very important question, by the way.
Very.
It says, do you guys have all of the Gatorade flavors on the sideline or just one or a couple of the Gatorade flavors?
I'd love to know this.
We have all of them in the little Gatorades, right? So you have you can get the little Gatorades of a red, a yellow, a purple, or whatever. But the big ones are usually just one color, right? It's usually, and it's because they'll have one of the water bottles the little people run around with. They'll be like, like Gatorade or water, you'd be like water, because the worst thing imaginable at a hot training camp is grabbing the Gatorade one and not expecting it to be Gatorade. Ooh. Right? Like you grab the Gatorade one and you're like, you do one of these because you're hot and you think it's water and you're just like, oh, and then all of a sudden you've just got orange sticky like everywhere and you're just like, God, why did you tell me that was Gatorade? Right? Like you get super upset, so they try and be like, just get the Gatorades from the little ones. Everything else we'll try and keep.
It's
water.
The red Gatorade.
Oh, I've done it. It's awful. It's like period 15. You're getting ready to go to 2 minute. You're tired. You're hot, and you just want to hose down real quick, and it's just Gatorade. It's
like that the vodka bottle in college is on this. Oh, that's my water bottle. Nope, that is vodka.
That was McCormick's. That was not what we wanted.
Amazing. Hey, great stuff. Football. Our guy Jeremiah Sirles from the O-line committee. And I'm glad you guys got to really hash out by the way, 72 of 100 for those that didn't get
the comments are going to say that I wussed out and didn't confront Jeremiah. So take this, man. I'm right, you're wrong.
Hey, that's that mutual respect we were talking about.
Well,
right?
It's actually an interesting conversation. I've always wondered. I mean, players don't care enough to talk about it,
right.
But I've always thought that these discussions are really intriguing. So.
It just goes all the way back to completely different sets of why we look at it. Right, from a player's perspective, especially an O-lineman, you're like, I want to protect my quarterback at all costs. And that's what the other 10 guys are. Your job is I want to deliver information and paint a clear picture for those of you that can't come to training camp. Right? Like, so I understand both sides of the fence, too, on that realm as well. So mutually agree to disagree, however you want to look at it.
Sorry, folks. You were looking for a knockout for Jeremiah. He was actually very nice about it.
It was a good, respectful discussion. I think we all got a little smarter here in the last 40 minutes.
We're professionals.
Yeah.
I'll be watching Third Down now very closely and torching McCarthy.
Now that you've got the green light.
You got the green light. Third down.
Third down.
That is fully chartable.
It's over.
That's the one period that you can be like, money down. Hey, money down. You win or lose games on third downs.
Yeah, it's must pass, all those things. So, for Jay, for the sports dad, for mustache producer Dex, I'm Phil. And this is Purple Daily. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See you guys.